What's going on, family? How is everybody doing? How are you? How are you persevering through the pandemic? Fam, please take your time, get your libation. You probably need some libations, and you probably, depending on what, I don't even care if your libation is peppermint tea. It's probably a good time to stock up on that. So fam, please, 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 how's everybody doing? We're gonna see today what we're gonna do. The last time the calls were lit and I couldn't get to the calls and they kept coming in and clogging up the whole thing. So today we're gonna focus on you. I'm gonna give you more time. I'm gonna go through some stuff about I couldn't put the pandemic or the coronavirus in the title because apparently YouTube don't like it. But we're gonna have some conversations, some necessary conversations, and then I want to hear about your life and how your life has changed, and we have to talk about each other and what not to do and what to do and where we are in the midst of all of this. So please hit that like button. While you are there, please hit that like for me. If you have not, please share it. Okay. That's interesting. It is interesting, interesting, interesting. It says gold and it say don't go, and it says gold and it say don't go. That's interesting, interesting, interesting. And the screen unfroze up. Let me see if you can see me. If you can see me, say I'm back, because it's showing me something wild on the screen and my whole screen unfroze up. So if I'm back, tell me I'm back, because I can't see anything. Oh, it's something. It's always something, something, something. Okay, fam. Thank you. I don't know why it ain't showing me the right thing here, and I don't think I'm gonna be able to pull up anything. But fam, we're gonna have to get right during this pandemic. Let me just say this, fam. It's one thing. We have to understand the differences between things, right? It's absolutely one thing to kind of have the information. It's another thing. We will not be stressed out. We will not be dismayed in the midst of the pandemic. This is a time where you got to have your wits about yourself. You got to remember certain things. We will not be dismayed, modem or connection in the times of the pandemic. Listen, fam, this is a time where it's not just about what you know, right? What you know is one thing. That's one thing. But whether or not you can act out what you know is another thing. So it's a lot of people on the internet. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why it's a lot of people at home. They're using up a lot of internet. But let me just say this, fam. Let me get this set up straight first. So Antonio did a video a while back, and he and I have been talking about it. He did a video about what you're going to need in this point, what you're going to need in this time, what's going to happen, what you going, what do you need a mask? Do you need the what else kind of stock? Do you need the whole? So the Breaking Brown family, we all knew what was coming. We all knew what was coming. And Antonio and I have been exchanging grocery lists, and we all knew what was coming. That video was how long ago? Well before the grocery stores got crowded. But part of the problem is, it's one thing to know what you know. It's another thing to be able to put that in action, right? So it's one thing to know what you know. It's another thing to put that in action. What I forgot when I was going through that, don't forget the book club on the 26th. Some of y'all will be home. Don't forget that. But it's another thing to put what you know in action. So what does it require? So you'll say, well, what does it require to put something that you know into action? We all know we need to stock up on stuff, and it was going to be a run on stuff. And I've been having deliveries come for about 2 weeks. So, but it's another thing, you got to get a little elderberry, whatever your thing is, a little vitamin C. I don't know, but I'm going to get some food. This is what we do. A little vitamin D, a little cake, all of that stuff. Now I look online, and the little what's that thing to help you through the cold or the airborne and all that stuff? It's like $30. So the point I'm making is this: in order to make it, from, who sent me a message? In order to make it from here, like, let's go to the bottom of Antonio's charts. Let's read what he said first. This X is how families survive the shortages of the coronavirus. This is when the wealth we describe when we are talking about the racial wealth gap shows up in your families. So, let's look at this right here. And it's why some of us made certain sacrifices. Let's look at this right here. You see that X? You can't flatline. You can't be flatline and make up the differences right now. See, what this requires of you is to be in that. You see where that is? It requires you to be in there where that X is. You don't have to be all the way up to the white, but you got to be in there. I hear white people online talking about they stockpiles. Right? I got in trouble for eating a stockpile of applesauce. My wife was upset that I did it. See, I'm not trying to, especially to the fam. But I think what we have to understand with ourselves is that we have been right. You know, a lot of people have called us naysayers and negative and all this reparations. You can just do it for self. You can't make up for 400 years of oppression by doing for self. You have to have that inheritance given to you, paid to you. You have to have that debt paid so it can be your inheritance. So in this moment, you don't have a half empty cart at the grocery store. I told you I went to the, well, what did I tell you? No, I think that was Friday. So I have most of the things that I need, but I went to the store Friday because I have a few things and I know people get paid on Friday. So I'm going to try to dip off in the grocery store like Pink Panther. Just do for everybody get in there or whatever. Because I know y'all might be at work. So I go in there and it's like Thanksgiving Eve. Parking lot full. Can't hardly get in there. But the most curious thing that I see when I get in there is it's a lot of people having handheld carts and little buggies with hardly nothing in them. Now, I tried to take pictures, but people looked at me untoward because I'm not good at being sneaky. I ain't never been But it's just like, what is in this buggy? What is in this cart? You know, it's not enough. And I know why it's not enough. I know you don't have enough. And I know you should have been shopping before today. And I know if you had seen Antonio's video, even my video, like I know you would have gone shopping before today. But some of them and some of you, even if you had enough time, you didn't have enough money. And there's a reason for that. See, we haven't been talking. We haven't been talking about reparations because we just want to be negative, or because we're just trying to stand by something, or because we just stubborn and mean, or because we don't believe in black people. No, ADOS people. No, we believe enough to know what we're owed. And we know what it means if we don't get what we're owed. We know what it means if we don't get that repayment. That's why we said for so long that it's urgent. And I saw that urgency at the grocery store. I saw that urgency. I knew they was going to buy everything out. That's why I went 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago. I know that panic buying was going to set in. Right? I knew that, like, I need to go get, just for the basic stuff, not to cure corona. And I know all that dumb stuff been going around, but just to have my immune system maybe a little bit better, because how I've been sick a couple times. I knew I was going to have some vitamin C, a little bit of garlic, a lot of stuff. So I did all that when it was still available. I went to the grocery store. It's not available anymore. I went to Amazon, somebody selling it for like $38. But it costs to be able to do that, and you have to be made American. So you have the knowledge, but you don't know what to do. You can't do anything with the knowledge because our debt has not been paid. Like this blunts black life. I don't think we all understand what this looks like. And somebody put this kudos fam for this tweet. You know, one of our regular fam put this up, and it's so true with what I saw. This is true. I went to West Baltimore earlier today and got some water, bottles, cashews, extra strength milligram medicine, tissue. All of the ADOS folk were in the line at the dollar store while I drove a block away to an Aldi's. A $2 difference between stores makes all the difference. See, in this area, you have to have money to where, you know what, that $2 don't mean nothing. That $2 don't mean nothing. It's a pandemic. I see this airborne over here. I don't care if it's $2 more over there. I can get this because $2 ain't nothing because I'm American. If this country doesn't do what it takes to make us American, then we're in a mess. And that's what we find ourselves today. It's heartbreaking. And it's like, you know, I see a lot of people who probably weren't involved in politics, probably would have told me a week, a month, or two, or a year ago that, no, I'm going to do it and I'm going to figure it out. And I'm a whatever. No, I saw your little handheld cart and you had 1 orange juice, a dozen eggs, and 2 things of vegetables. That's not going to get you through in case something happens. I don't know. But they like you to be sheltered in and told everybody to have 2 weeks of food. I prefer 30 days of food. And here's the kicker. We deserve to have that. The only reason we don't have that is because of the oppressive forces of America. We deserve to have that. How do you turn down the thing that protects you from a pandemic? Yeah, you got to wash your hands. Yeah, you got to be careful. Yeah, you gotta scrub good. You gotta do the social distancing. You gotta do all that. But at the end of the day, if you're gonna stay in the house, even if you, I know most of us have to go to work still. Ain't got no paid leave. But after you do all of that, if you're gonna be in the house, or if they force us to be in the house, you got to have food in the house. And you can't be doing this thing where you run through there, try to run to the store every 3 days. Or whatever. You got to shutter in. And they haven't given us the ability to do that. Which really means they haven't given us the ability to, like, and when you, in the terms of a pandemic, you're taking my ability to, like, live life. Look at this. Coronavirus to impact low-wage black workers the most. Only a third of the workforce in the country is able to work from home, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And let me just pause right there for a second. I saw all these white people today playing around at home, playing with the cat, tossing balls with the doggone dog. I mean, we don't have to understand what they're telling you is that all the memes we saw today from white people, that's not our life. That's an alien life. So let me start over. Only a third of the workforce in the country is able to work from home, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Nationwide, more than 32 million workers don't have access to paid sick leave. According to BLS, 92% of high-wage earners receive paid sick time compared to their low-income counterparts. Only 31% of workers with salaries in the bottom 10% have this benefit. Paid sick leave also impacts some sectors more than others. According to the Economic Policy Institute, only 48% of workers in the leisure hospitality industry have access to paid sick leave. Now, when you say that, I want you to understand something else. We have somewhat gotten into this mindset that what we're dealing with. See, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a virologist. I'm not an immunologist, in case you haven't noticed. So what I try to do is I try to access those people. I try to find those people on Twitter and find articles written by the best of those people and the epidemiologists, all of them, and figure out where do we go from here. Before I talk about that, and before I talk about ADOS, what I just talked about, what we don't have and what we are, I think it's good to figure out what we're dealing with. We talked about what we don't have, why we don't have it, why we don't have the food at home, right? And how we're going to be impacted. And we're going to get back to that. But let's talk about what we're dealing with, because I've seen a whole lot of tomfoolery and foolishness about if you got the newsletter, you saw the article about People thinking that we're immune from the doggone corona. We got this the melanin for the protection. Kinky hair gonna protect it. A lot of people are talking about, well, Africa hasn't had as many cases. Yeah, it doesn't. A lot of Africa doesn't have as much influx and outflux. There are a lot of variables for that. Stop talking. Like, if you're not a scientist, what I do is I use the stuff that scientists give me. When I talk about reparations, I use what economists give me. I'm not going to just start talking. That's what a fool does. I'm not a fool. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to hustle bustle my way through some garbage just so you'll watch me. That's not who I am. That's not what I do. And people who do that are horrible. People could die because of this by saying, like, well, it's not so bad. Only a few people in America have died. I don't know how bad it gets, but you know what? They don't either. And I don't know how we got into this mode of thinking that melanin makes us superheroes or kinky hair makes us superheroes, rather than weighing things and being safer than sorry. Okay, let's say at the end of this thing, it gets tamped down. It's not a big deal. Let's just give the cocoa for cuckoo for cocoa pup Negroes a minute, and let's just say, well, okay, you at the end of this thing, it's not going to be a big deal. What did you lose by being safe? What did you lose by just not going to the bar if the bar is still open where you are? What did you lose by not going out? What did you when you didn't have to? If you had to go to work, I understand. We have to do it. We have to do it. We have to eat. And we don't have cash payments yet, which should be paid to people. I'm talking at least $2,500, $3,500 just to get through the month. But you don't have that yet, so you got to go. But what is the problem with telling people to do everything within their power? Because you don't control everything. But remember what we said last time, control the controllables. What is the problem with that? Wash your hands. Dang, I just scratched my head. Jesus. Anyway, wash your hands. Don't touch your face like Yvette just did. What's wrong with that? You don't lose anything by being safe. You lose nothing. You will be back with your friends again if they're not infected. Right? You will have this time again. I always question people who try to get you to be not as safe as you could be. So let's talk about safe. Let's look at some of these estimates when we talk about that. Coronavirus deaths in Italy and Spain are increasing much more rapidly than they did in China. Now, I want you to look at something real quick. Let me bring this up a little bit so you can see, because I already read that part for you. Now, I'm going to bring this chart up a little bit. Now, I want you to see, this is one of the better charts that I found in terms of like projections and things of that nature. Now, I want you to look at like the U.S. line and look at where it's headed. It's going straight. Now, I have another line, which is going to show you something else. It's the same trajectory. Now, this line, let me show you what this one says. This is from the Financial Times. I think I just put that up. Most Western countries are on the same coronavirus trajectory. Hong Kong and Singapore have so far limited the spread. South Korea is slowing its progress. But you see how the U.S., that little pink line in the middle, the U.K. has a pink line too, but the U.S. is like dead in the middle. You see how that line is like arcing up? That's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. Because what you want to see is a line like Japan's line, right? Which is it's flattening out. That means that they're pressing down, they're flattening the curve, what everybody's saying. That's what you want to see. You want to see a line like Singapore's flattening that curve. You want to see a line like Hong Kong's the bottom, flattening that curve. You want to be at the bottom of this. You don't want to be in the middle. You don't want to be Spain. You don't want to be Italy. And we're not there yet, but we don't have as many cases, but we haven't tested as much. So we don't really know, do we? But what I'm saying is, if you know that something has the potential to be bad, whether or not it is, we don't know. None of us know. If it has the potential to be bad, you want to make sure that you're not in that number, don't you? There are a lot of people who are talking who are behaving very irresponsibly. Very irresponsibly. Let me put this up really quick. Hold on. Let me put this up real quick. It's just a little blurb. It's nothing deep. Just to give you we do numbers, we do data. So in most Western countries, case numbers have been increasing by about 33% a day, a sign that other countries may soon be facing the same challenges as Italy. You see what that says? 33%. What that's telling you is that Western countries are on kind of the same trajectory. We're on the same trajectory as Italy. So anybody who tells you, like, I don't know, we's black, we's different, we got melanin, we show is special, I don't know what to say. Like, because understand something, that same kind of we show is special stuff, that is actually, like, that's what slavery was about. This idea that, like, well, black bodies are different, and so, you know, we don't really have to care for black bodies, and black minds are different because black bodies are different. That's what it is. It's the same thing. I'm going to bring up another chart. Hold on one second. And I don't understand why we don't understand when we're being told stupid stuff. Only listen. And in this moment, only listen to scientists and only listen to people who are giving you information from scientists. Okay. When you look at Boston, the median net worth of black Bostonians is $8. Look at the cost of doggone Tylenol. Median net worth of black Bostonians is really $8. Look at so you it's worth less than Tylenol. That's why. That's why we're in a pickle. I mean, I don't want to call it, I'm gonna make this a little bigger so you can see. But I don't want to call it a pickle. It's not really a pickle, it's something else. It's worse than a pickle. And that's why reparations is essential. We don't have the wealth of a bottle of Tylenol. Like, just sit on that for a minute. Don't say nothing. Just sit on that. We don't have the wealth of a bottle of Tylenol. And that Tylenol is sold out. See how it says on the bottom? Out of stock. Because we couldn't get it early. You know why we can't get it early? Because we don't have reserves. See, to get it early, you have to have reserves to go and buy stuff. You have to have the reserves to go and buy the stuff you need to buy, and we don't have it for what? We never got reparations. There's a lot of people right now who talked a lot of trash about ADOS, who don't have no Tylenol, and you didn't think it was gonna be this bad, or you didn't think nobody was gonna do nothing or whatever. Why? You were sitting around listening to people who don't make no sense. Now what you gonna do? You get a fever, huh? Because they're telling me the hospitals might get overrun. If they don't, then you just got too much Tylenol. Who cares? If it turns out everything turns out okay, you just got too much Tylenol and too much Advil, too much ibuprofen, and too much acetaminophen. So what? That stuff stays good for years. But if you don't and you need it, you're in quite a pickle. A lot of people laughed and talked and watched videos from people who was talking nonsense about how it's not that bad in Africa and all that stuff. And now you sitting there and you ain't got no Tylenol. And you don't have no Tylenol for the reason we told you wasn't going to have no Tylenol. Because you had to wait the payday to get it. Because we don't have reserves. We don't have inheritance. And so, it's killing me not to touch my face. But and so, that's what it is. So, understand what you need with that is when you talk about these drugs and why is Tylenol? If I don't need no Tylenol, I don't know why I would even need that. It breaks a fever. You know, when you talk about the coronavirus, one of the main signs is fever. If you want to talk about one of the initial signs that you have the coronavirus, it's fever. You want to try to break a fever? You're going to need a little bit of Tylenol. How about you know what the drugs do? Ibuprofen, acetaminophen, they're different things. Know what everything does. Knowledge is important, family. You got to have the knowledge. It's very, very, very important. It's very important how our government acted and didn't act. It's a lot of stuff going on. It's a lot of moving parts. People telling us just to stay home. And they saying like if the hospital get overrun, the reason they acetaminophen and all those different things are important is because they're telling you you're going to have to stay at home and treat yourself. Like unless you get to the point where you really have severe trouble breathing, you have to treat yourself. That means you got to have all that stuff in there. Not just Tylenol. You got your little bit of Mucinex. A lot of different kinds of Mucinex. You got them all. You got something for your cough. Got a little tea. Got a little honey. Got a little lemon. See, you have to have reserves. By the time you start adding that up, it's way more than $8. And we don't have it. And it really pisses me off. Because a lot of people spend a lot of time arguing and fighting with me and Antonio when they really should have just been saying, yeah, you right. And a lot of people right now, I'm going to say one name, boys. A lot of people right now are sitting on money. They have reparations that were given to them by black people based on aspiration who are like, well, it ain't going to be that bad. You're not a scientist. I don't know. You don't know either. Stop telling people to chill out. Don't tell nobody to relax. You don't get to tell nobody to relax, dodo bird. You don't get to tell. Only a scientist can say that. I don't know how this turns out. And I've said that 3 times. But he don't either. Don't tell people what to do when you sitting somewhere with a bunch of money that Negroes gave you because you told them you was going to make them a millionaire. Don't you do it. It's funny that the people who keep talking trash in terms of talking about stuff they don't know or understand are the people who got reparations from black people. Yeah, you got your money. You got it by selling Negroes snake oil. But right now, let people pay attention to the science. And if we do what we need to do and we do what's necessary, hopefully in a couple weeks or a month, we will have passed it. We will have surpassed it. We will flatten the curve. And that'll be wonderful. That ain't, I told Yvette. That ain't no gotcha moment for Yvette either. Because Yvette's going to do what's necessary to make sure her people are okay. That means being cautious and careful. That don't mean being no fool. Just because you got a bunch of stuff stacked in your basement that your wife, fiance got you, you don't do that. You got to understand when people don't care about you. Or whether or not you're okay. And what they're finding with this thing, because even if people don't die, everybody's looking at fatalities. And fatalities are important. I'm not saying it's not. But the truth of the matter is a lot of people get very, very, very sick. They don't die, but they get very sick. And it's not just about how many fatalities there are. It's about the potential for it. This thing talks about, how coronavirus exploded in South Korean churches and hospitals. They had it flattened and they popped back up. That's how careful you have to be. Play games if you want to, and what will happen is it'll pop back up in our communities because we got knuckleheads talking to us about how we ain't worried about this virus. No, be careful. Ain't nobody asking you to go outside in a hazmat suit. Be careful. Wash your hands. Keep a safe distance. If I were you, I'd change my clothes when I came home. We don't know how it all goes down. But be careful, because at the end of this thing, if you're careful and nobody gets hurt, it costs you nothing. It costs you nothing to be careful. You don't lose anything. We should not. We do not have. We can't be as reckless like as Mayor de Blasio, who went to the gym. We don't have it. So when you don't have it, it means that you have to take extra care. Right? You have to be Extra careful. We always got to be extra careful. Hopefully everything's okay. But we have to take this seriously. And I don't take kindly to people who are trying to diminish this. If we flatten the curve, where's that curve at again? If we flatten this curve, I will be happy. I will be elated. Let me bring this down. How bad could it be? Because that means something went right in terms of how we did things. You want a flat curve. You want that green curve. You don't want that yellow where everybody's in the hospital at the same time. If we do that, wonderful. Wonderful. But I don't want to be somewhere and somebody's telling me that the most of the deaths were ADOS people. Don't get caught up in nothing. Don't get caught up listening to stupid people who majored in something that ain't this or didn't graduate high school. There are a bunch of people online that you can follow who will tell you what their best recommendations are. I use them. And that's what I put up on the screen here. I don't just give you, I don't do that cuckoo for Cocoa Puff stuff. I don't do that. Don't make no sense. Follow people who make sense. Talk to people who make sense. You know how much money you... Oh, I ain't gonna even get to the money. I'm not even gonna do that to everybody. It's a lot of good information. A lot of good information out there, but you can't follow it by following knuckleheads. How do you kill SARS-CoV-2? A lot of good information out there. Good information about what we're doing to fight the drugs. Some drugs that we use for HIV and SARS, we're using that to fight the virus. A lot of good information out there. You're not gonna find it. You're not gonna find it dealing with knuckleheads though. Coronavirus known to require activity of cellular protease of TMPRSS2 for entry into the chromostat, blocks it. It's a lot of stuff out there. I was learning stuff today. It's a lot of stuff you learn when you start looking into these little viruses. And it's a lot of stuff we learn politically. Mitt Romney, every American adult should immediately receive $1,000 to help ensure families and workers can meet their short-term obligations and increase spending in the economy. I saw something in the grill today. Somebody said something about we miss Barack Obama. This man ran against Barack Obama. You know what Barack Obama could do? Mitt Romney's in the Senate. But you know what Barack Obama could do? Why don't y'all get together and talk about how people need a check right now? Why don't y'all get together? When we can talk about what has to happen on this other level we just talked about. We just talked about what has to happen in terms of how we have to approach coronavirus, how we have to be cautious and careful. We just talked about that, but let's talk about what we have to do politically. Barack, why don't you get together with your former adversary, Mitt, and y'all just talk about, y'all can do a video and talk about what we need to do. Do a video together. How we need to do $1,000 cash. Why not? Apply pressure. Because this little money that they just approved, they going to approve. Did they come back from vacation yet? I know Mitch McConnell had to go somewhere. Oh, dark-hearted. Oh, whatever. Can y'all get together? I don't miss Obama. I don't miss him worth a doggone. But if he want to do something, get together with old Mittens. And I would even make it more. I don't think you should do anything less than $2,500 as a cash payout. And you have to do more than that for like businesses. I'm not talking about because everybody want to give a bunch of money to Wall Street, but all these other little businesses might close. Black businesses are going to hit hard. Who's advocating for black business right now? I think you have to bail out people and business because they can't be open. And we can't go out really. But people still have stuff to buy. You have to make that up. So I think, Barack, why don't you get with Mittens? Get with Mitt Romney. Because people need a cash payout. And do something. Why don't you do something instead of tweeting from wherever you're tweeting from? Get in the mix. Get in the mix, Barry. What you doing with yourself besides tweeting anyway? And I don't care. Don't nobody tell me, please. Well, Barack Obama tweeted he was in favor of something like that. No, 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 no. I need y'all to work together on this. Even though he's there and you're there, y'all can make a great video to apply pressure. Because people listen to what Obama says. Right? So let's do it. That's all I'm talking about. Let's get together. That's what people always say. We're Americans. We're together. Well, y'all get together and get people some cash payments. What else we got here? I'm going to get to the phones earlier than later, fam, today. I'm going to try to. You know, I be talking a lot. Somebody said Obama chilling. I don't even know. I don't know what anybody doing, honestly. Everybody just doing their own thing. Y'all remember that little cartoon? Which one of these things is doing their own thing? What was that, Sesame Street? Gosh. Face itching. Yeah, I think when you see, if you want to do yourself a favor, every once in a while, just go look at the numbers, especially from Italy, and look at how many they're losing a day. Now, Italy's smaller. I think Italy's like, what is it, like 60, something like that? So I know it's smaller, but I want you to just look at that. And look at what that means for us. That for us, like proportionally, it might be like 1,400 or something like that people a day. Somebody was telling me it's like September 11th every 24 hours or something if we are on that, if we lose like that, lose people like that. Y'all don't hear me though. And then we did so much stuff wrong. Like when the people, like there was people with hazmats. I didn't get the whole thing. But it was people, when this man flew back, he said flew back to Beijing today from the U.S., all staff in hazmat suits, multiple temp checks and health related questions, waiting to be taken to designated screening facility shortly before starting 14-day quarantine. Now, if you look at that video, you'll see that it's up on this person's Twitter. You'll see that those people are in hazmats. They serious. But what you'll see in American airports is something like this. Hold on one second. Look at the difference. The corona's just jumping into the country, ain't it? What is this? What is this? How are you? I mean, how are y'all that close together? What's going on? How is this? How is it playing this way? Are we a failed state? This is a chaotic disorganization. This is madness. Like, please understand that what you're looking at is madness. That's what you're seeing. That's no other way to put it. That's madness. And I think the position that we have gotten ourselves in as a country is that this country is, you know, I've said it before, but this country is built to serve capital. Capital's white capital. We all know that. But this country is built to serve capital. It's not built to serve citizens. And when you have a country that's built for profit and not for citizens, you have a problem. Because you have people that can't even come to the doctor. So you might be worse. We might be worse than Italy. We don't know. Because we have people that can't even come in. With what? With what insurance card? It's not built. It's not structured in the right way. And yes, we saw absolute racism during Katrina, but we also saw a lot of failures that we're seeing rear their heads now. People are gonna learn. You ain't gonna have to be, and you're not gonna have to be just ADOS or black to learn now. No. Everybody gonna learn. When you don't hold your government accountable, and you keep and you run around and you just feel like you can see, because what a lot of these southern states have done, they've kind of made themselves, I mean red states, like they don't elect presidents to do stuff for them. They elect presidents to leave them alone. Just leave me alone. I just want to be left alone. Well, if you're going to be left alone, just be left alone. So when the coronavirus hit, just be left the damn alone. And I say this to somebody who lives in a red state. Just be left alone then. You can't ask to be left alone and like you don't want to be bothered then. But, oh, can you help me? I'm in so much trouble. Please help me. Help me. Help me. You just be wiggling. Help me. I need some infusion of cash. No. Cash, please. No, we're not doing that. No, you want to be free and you want to be rugged individualism. Well, figure that out now. Be a rugged individual. But you realize that junk don't work. Because there's sometimes you don't want government to bother you. Like, government, keep your boot off my neck. Government, keep off of me. Until it's time for government to intervene on behalf of you, huh? So it's almost like I don't want government to tell me nothing. I figure all my stuff. I don't need government to tell me nothing. But can you give me $1 billion? No. You figure it out. You can figure it out, right? Rugged individual, you and the rest of the rugged individuals. Y'all can figure it out, can't you? It's actually like it puts you in a position not to even be able to help people with that mindset. Y'all saw the sheriff. What was the little sheriff name, child? You know, the little sheriff's name, the little dumb black sheriff. What was his name, child? He came on and said, "Go out to restaurants, go everywhere you want to go. This is freedom." These little small state goofballs elevated him. Him and his little Boy Scout things that he had all over his chest. I would have brought it on if I thought about it. Yeah. Somebody said Deputy Dog. Yeah, Clark. But what was his first name? Yes, the David Clark. What's wrong with him? Republicans elevate that fool. Now he got to do. Y'all go outside. Touch what you want to touch. Hell, lick a pavement if you want to. I don't care. All these dodo birds. And they're everywhere. Just be safe. Even if the people are wrong, it's better to be safe. Even if the estimates are off and we're gonna miss it. We're gonna miss the whole thing. That's great. But yeah, be safe. Better to be safe than to be sorry. Don't be running outside here and trying to go to bars and I have a taste for them chicken wings. No! Sit down somewhere. Now, you can still get it. Yes, but be as careful as you can. And we got to talk about this too. Even in terms of what we get and what we don't get. Like, what's this? Hold on, let me bring this up. Where did my thing go? Look at who gets the share of workers with access to paid sick leave. Let me bring this up for a second. You know where we are on this chart, right? So high is 10%. Ooh, they close to 100% of having paid sick leaves. Then the high is 25% up high. Third 25%, second 25%, lowest 25, lowest 10. What do you think we are? That's why a lot of y'all, I tell you what we are before we go on. In case you're wondering what we are, this is what we are. Bottom 50% of black households worth less than $1. So we got no paid sick leave. And people have told us that we shouldn't be involved in politics. I get on voice because this Negro told y'all, well, the Asians aren't involved in politics, so you shouldn't be too. Goofballs. No, when you have this means you don't have no paid sick leave. I saw somebody online today who said that Target told him that, and I don't know if this is true. I'm just telling you what I told, allegedly, that they need to be at work, even if they have certain symptoms, because people are buying stuff and they need them to be at work. No paid sick leave, no nothing. What do you do with that? I'm just asking, what do you do with that? Where'd the thing go? I had another image. I hate when that happens. When I have an image I can't use. But yeah, let's go back to that. So you're looking at the lowest 10% right here, right? And that's basically share of access. Remember the name of the chart. Share of U.S. workers with access to paid sick leave. The lowest 10%, like, you don't have it. We ain't got no sick leave. What you want? And understand how much that puts us at risk. If this thing is as bad as they say, and we don't get it contained, that's a serious risk if you don't have paid sick leave. You're not at home like the white people I saw today playing with their dogs and cats and chasing whatever they were doing. They were doing some weird stuff on Twitter today. Making up their own little games and stuff. It was a holiday. It's not a holiday for us. But it's a problem when we don't fight for us, right? When we let people tell us that, like, we shouldn't fight for ourselves. Because let me tell you something else. This isn't going to be the only thing that happens in our lifetime. Like, this is a pandemic. And hopefully we flatten the curve and it's like, whoo, not that bad. But if it's bad, it's bad. But there are wars. There are all sorts of things that happen where you got to go and you got to go get what you need. I don't think we understand how imperative it is and has always been that we get reparations. I don't think we get that. You bailed out Wall Street and they still didn't. You bailed out Wall Street. Wall Street still didn't care. What did I bail out? You threw out $1 trillion like it wasn't nothing. Where's our bailout? Where? Let me read this real quick. Hold on, I'm gonna pull up an image for you. Hold on, I don't even know where our money is. Our money just don't nobody want to give us nothing, and we got a bunch of knuckleheads who don't want nothing. I'm gonna let you look at that chart for 1 second while I pull up another chart really quickly. So yeah, everybody asking for money, but we be like, that's a handout. I don't want to be a beggar. I don't want to be a beggar. I am not a beggar. I ain't no beggar. That's not what I do. I go get mine. You dodo bird. We can make our kids a millionaire. Like, all we gotta do, it's a mentality. You know, poverty is a mentality. Dodo bird. Let me pull this up real quick. See, now airlines are asking for money too. U.S. airlines seek nearly $60 billion. U.S. airlines are asking for nearly $60 billion in direct assistance and loan guarantees, vastly dwarfing the $15 billion made available after the attacks of September 11, 2001, as airlines worldwide continue to plead for government help from the effects of the coronavirus outbreak. On Monday, Airlines for America, the trade group for the U.S. airline industry, came forward with specific requests, including $29 billion in direct assistance. And somebody asked the question that we all should be asking. Can I ask a real question? Why is it the individuals are expected to save 6 months, to save 3 months expenses, and plus an emergency fund to survive loss of income, but giant businesses can seem to survive this without billions? Can't seem to survive it without billions from the government. Yeah. See, that's the thing, and that's the stupidity of the moment, and the people who have been kind of leading us into this space. The stupidity of all of this is that they have led us into a space where it's kind of like, well, you know, you can't ask government because that's begging. Don't beg government. Don't beg White Zaddy for nothing. Don't beg him. That's not him. That's a government. You too stupid. You should have stayed in school and like watched civics, like and you know you should have read some books. You too stupid to do this. And I'm not saying you were born like with a low IQ, but you don't know enough. Government is not daddy. Government is government for all of us. Whether you be ADOS, black immigrant, Asian, or whatever, or Hispanic. Like, if you're a citizen in this country, government is for you. And everybody understands that except us. And we don't understand it because we got too many dodo birds who are living a good life off of us, saying you leave white daddy alone. That's government. That's not your father. Government is the reason, like I said before, government is not your father, but government is the reason that your father's in jail. Riddle me that, Batman. So anyway, fam, you know, It's insane. Let me get this off the screen. But this, and they done gave all the money away in tax cuts. So I don't even know how they're going to pay for it. That's why people say, well, Vic, why don't you like small government? Because what small government does is it like, you give all the money to rich people. Small government ain't never been small. It's like we give all the money to them and then like you have to fend for yourself. And I don't like it. I've said that before. I try to keep a collective mindset. So I don't try to, dog out ADOS or conservative Republicans. I don't do that. I want to keep us together as a collective. I disagree with them and I can talk to you and disagree with you, but I disagree with you. But I understand why you might not be a Democrat, but I would prefer you be something else than that. But I don't want to ostracize any of the ADOS family. I don't want to ostracize any of the black family. So I don't dog people out for that. But it's just like, it ain't small government ain't never been small. It's just been small for us and small for everybody on the bottom. It ain't never been small for the people on the top. They're going to get what they're going to get regardless. Like you all, like these companies, right? So these companies, whether they be airlines or Apple or whatever, y'all don't want to pay taxes. But then when something goes wrong, you want us to share in the risk. No, you pay then. You pay your fair share, and then when the stuff goes wrong, we know we got to come help you out. You're not the same as like a small business. They're not getting away with what you getting away with. Y'all just walk off and don't pay no tax. You might walk off and get a refund, and then when your stuff goes left, oh, I need help. Now, what all that money you got in this offshore account, huh? Figure it out. And I ain't even got to fly nowhere. I'll drive. I'm tired of you. I'm tired of y'all. Every time it's socialist, whenever something goes wrong with you, you want socialism. You come crying for a bunch of can I please have some socialism, sir? But then when I need when you getting the money and you getting the profits, well, I'm a capitalist. It's all about the capitalism right now. It's all about the capitalism. It's all about capitalism. It's a capitalist society, and we don't have to do that. Capitalism is not good in crises either. It ain't gonna work. Ain't no kind of profit motive gonna work here. So figure it out. But we gotta figure out what we gotta figure out as a group, as a collective. And all this do for selfism, I got mine, you got yours. It don't work in the pandemic, do it. Anyway, fam, give me a few minutes up the phones and I want to hear what everybody has to say. What are you going through right now? Is your child out of class? They out of school? What does that look like for you in your life? Right? What does that look like for you? Were you able to stock up? When had you stocked up? Did you stock up for other stuff other than water and medicine? How much did it cost you? Have you convinced your family that they need to stock up or be at least serious or cautious about what's happening, just to ride it out? Because none of us know what's going to happen. None of us know what tomorrow holds. Have you convinced them to be careful and adult and how this happens? I just want to hear from you, fam. Let me know what's going on with you. So give me a minute, set the phones, and we'll be back. Okay, fam, we are back. We are going to the cause immediately. Immediately. I want to hear from you about this outbreak thing. It's a lot of things going on. So I am going to start today with I'm going to start with 770. 770. I am coming to you. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, this is Devontae. How you doing?
Pretty good, Devontae. How about yourself?
All is well. I'm the guy
Is
that
that
got arrested for
Devontae and
breaking into
Casey and
his own
JoJo?
house,
And
apparently.
Jodeci? Huh? What you
That's
say?
the thing. Say it again?
No, I was wondering, wasn't Devontae like a Jodeci name, one of them? But I was trying to
It
put.
was.
Oh.
I was conceived off their music. That's what my dad named that song, that name.
I like it, Dad. I like it, Dad. That's all right with me. What's on your mind, fam?
Hey, man. Yeah, I just want to talk about just how much the coronavirus affected people specifically in the black community, especially those like who were like single mothers. And just people who can't even afford to go out and buy the food or groceries or medicine right now because they're waiting on their food stamps. Like I have a friend, she's a single mother, and she and I'm keep telling her you need to go out and buy some stuff. I've been watching Antonio Moore. Oh, shout out to Antonio Moore for his video on the coronavirus that he did like 2 weeks ago. Because as soon as he did that video, I was like, let me go out and buy some stuff immediately. So I stocked up on supplies, canned vegetables, sardines, tuna, chicken chunks, all the good stuff that you need, some rice. And then it was fun because actually in my household, I was the only one who was taking it seriously. But then we got some news that Trump's gonna make an announcement either tomorrow or the day after tomorrow that everything gonna be shut down completely. And that's when everybody else in my house wanted to decide to take it seriously. It was like, okay, we need to hurry up and go buy some stuff. We need to hurry up and do it now. Like, I just been did that. Thank God I already did. I bought like 4 cases of water, bought a water filter, and just everything we're going to need just to at least, keep us covered for like 2 or 3 weeks. But anyway, I didn't want to say though, but yeah, it's just crazy. Like my friend, I just sent her $50. So I was like, you need to go out and buy some food for you and your 2 kids. And she was just like, the whole time she was just waiting. She was like, well, the government need to hurry up and process these food stamps. She's going to give us an advance on our food stamps so I can go out and get some food. And mind you, this girl, she works 2 jobs. She's in school part-time and working 2 jobs, and she still can't even afford to go out and get the stuff she needs for her house. And I just said, that's just a fair. I mean, mind you, she's smart. She works hard. She does everything she needs to do. But she doesn't even have the basic needs to go out and get what she needs for her family. And that's why I just want to say that's just a failure in our government. That's why we need reparations. That's so she can be made whole. Yeah. She doesn't even have what it takes to provide for her family, especially during times like this, during a crisis, when something just come out of nowhere, and she don't even know how she going to go out and get these foods and stock them on supplies, especially when all the shelves are empty. I just went there today just to get some more stuff just because, and the shelves were completely empty. Walmart was empty. I was like trying to figure out what I'm going to cook tonight for dinner, and I just said, okay, I'm just going to take whatever I got and just make some magic happen. But yeah, I mean, reparations is serious. We need it. I hope ADOS fam was taking y'all seriously. Y'all saying it's going to be a real thing. I need to go out and buy stuff now. I'm just so happy that I listened to y'all and that I was tuned in to y'all. Just so I went out ahead of time and got stuff that we already needed for the house. We already got it. And now I'm just going out just scrounging and getting stuff. And also, as far as medication go, I know it's the acetopin. When I tried to go look for it, they were sold out.
I see them in
But like if you go to the Kroger brand nighttime severe cold medicine, they got that acetopin in it. So it's like $6, $7 a bottle. And so I just said, like, if you can't go out and just find the Tylenol pills, that's also another option. I bought like 5 bottles of those and gave them to my family. We stocked up on stuff right now. And they just told me today, like, thank you for taking it seriously because we weren't. Everybody was still on that whole, God got us and it ain't that serious and we're going to be okay.
God helps those who help themselves.
So I'm just glad. Yeah, I'm just happy. I'm just a part of the family because the family just let me know, hey, this is more serious than you think. We're not immune to it, so just go ahead and do what you got to do. But that's all I got to say for it. I just want to say thank you to you and Tone for letting me know, hey, this is not nothing to play with. Because if I would have just waited till like today to go out and buy some stuff, I would have been out of luck.
I heard ain't nothing there. And that's what you gotta know too, fam. Like there's some I can't pronounce half the ingredients. Like he like acetaminophen. There's another one that starts with a G that's really for congestion, and you gotta know which ingredients are for which thing. So you know, like look for the main ingredient. But I like got something, and the thing in these days and times, thank you, fam, so much for calling. I appreciate it. But let me just say something else. In these days and times, you just gotta look for the ingredient. You can't look for which company you like. Oh, I don't like Amazon, or I don't deal with this company. No, I needed to whatever. I called and I got like a couple big bottles of acetaminophen, ibuprofen, and they were before I got Amazon brands because I just need to go get it. That was a couple weeks ago. I'm getting this right now while I'm sitting right here. I'm not. You gotta get what you gotta get. Now's the time to be moral. Now's the time to survive. Like I'm not talking about be immoral and hurt nobody, but I'm talking about you can't be like, well, I normally eat the Whole Foods brand. Or I don't like their labor. What? No, get what you gotta get. However you gotta get it. Now don't go stealing nothing. Now nothing illegal, but I'm just saying like look for the main ingredient and go and get a product with that ingredient that's good for you. Like I can't. No, that's what you gotta do. You can't be. Now's not the time to be all highs and mighty. I'm going to 310. What's going on?
What up? This Tone Talk. So I wanted to go through a couple points. If you could pull up that welding in the door in China while I just start off. Let me say thank you so much to that last caller, along with just many other callers that have said that the video I did for 2 weeks ago that sounded a little manic, but it wasn't. Now y'all see, in terms of preparing for the coronavirus, and I just hope that it affected and helped so many families, particularly black families across the country, and it sounds like it did. One of the things that I run into a lot of times is people continuously say, why do you bring up education? Well, one of the things that I've seen in this YouTube space is what happens with education is that you learn to defer. Because you were in college, you defer to experts, professors, everything else. And I'm not saying you can't get that other places, but I think in college you hone that skill. And I think that what has happened, particularly prevalent in the YouTube space, is like you have a lot of people that didn't get that higher education. And so they've been just talking, and that's been okay in like other times. And also that was okay before Tone Talks was here to talk about wealth, which is facts. With just data. That's before Tone Talk introduced, say, Byron Allen, or say, we introduced Darity, or Adolf introduced the reality of lineage. So now conspiracies sound really wild. Well, coronavirus interjects immediacy to all of that. And so you get people who don't understand how to vet resource. And you get people that actually just say wild things that sound good and make you feel good but aren't accurate. And I addressed the whole African by saying, and I told you check sources 2 weeks ago. That brings me to the second thing, and this is a YouTube video that was all across the web, and even this comes from like some magazine in Europe. But like I've seen this in a number of videos that it appears that China is using all kinds of tactics to keep people in their homes. One of those possibly is welding. It's hard to get information out of China, but the reason why I bring this up isn't to prove that they're actually welding people in their homes. But I'm saying if this is the case, it kind of matches what we've seen with them dragging people out of their homes and things of the like. And this introduces me into another discussion, not about welding or how you trap people in homes. It's just this discussion where people don't understand America is a democracy built of states. And so what you're getting is, well, China is all clean now. Why can't we just do what they did? I need you to understand that this country has states and state rights. And these states are vastly different in terms of resource in the way that they've actually decided to defer to the federal government or organize themselves internally. And I don't think everybody really understands that. Not to mention, I think there's a certain level of, I'm not saying a perfect level, or even to me, sometimes a functional level, but there's a certain level of checks and balances in terms of the amount of information coming out. We have I believe the Justice Act that allows reporters to go get information from the government, even the Freedom of Information Act, I believe, that might not be public, and there's time constraints and everything else. And a lot of these places, they don't have that. And so when you say China is clean, understand you don't know, because China is known to put out all kind of like false information. When you say Africa doesn't have any cases, just know you don't know, because you're talking about a developing country that lied about the Ghana thing is a set of developing countries. And if we use Ghana as an example, we just presented the thing about how they misconstrued their numbers about tourism. So what do you think is going to happen with their numbers on something like the coronavirus? You know, me and Yvette had a lively discussion ourselves about the whole reality of, yeah, they don't get a lot of people in and out, but the people that do come in and out are Chinese, but they might not have came in and out regularly. All these things mean that at least they should have some cases, and we're not getting. It's not even like they have a low number of cases. We're getting no information out, and I'm just saying, don't when you get that kind of thing coming on, I think it's almost like it's short-sighted to compare that in a straight, like, analogous comparison to America, where we have a federal government and then we have states, and then the federal government has deferred to states' rights and everything from education to gun ownership to all kinds of different things. That's why you have all the different rules across the country. So everybody says, well, why doesn't just the federal government or Trump just say what it is? Well, it's because that is the battle here in America, and it's always been the battle. So when coronavirus hit, it just exposes the complication of having a country built the way it is. It's not necessarily just saying there's a dysfunction per se about how we implement rules versus other places. Now, on the other side, you got to judge with the way they implement rules. So if they're welding doors, you ask yourself whether you want a welded door if you catch coronavirus. You want to be dragged. What we do know is that we saw a video. They were dragging people out of their house. They were dragging people out of their house, and they were talking. I saw another article where it talked about people's pets, and they couldn't even get protection for their pets. And these are the kind. I don't think I saw a video. Why can't we just do like China and da 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 da? Because we not China, you know. And now that brings me to the second point, which is about the airlines. You know, I kind of just wanted to go back and hash that out, because what's happening now is if you can pull the airline thing up that you had a second ago up, is a bastardization of capitalism. We've seen this before, and I'll give you the example. We've seen it right after slavery with the steel mines, and I talked about it in my article, Shadow of Slavery. In the steel mines, what they were doing, actually I think I did it in Rise of Legacy. In the steel mines, what they were doing was worse than just slavery in a way. Because what they were doing was forcing you to be part of capitalism without any other reward. And that's what you see here. So not only do you have this idea of pure capitalism whereby if you make the profits, you don't pay no taxes, so we don't have no social safety net in regular time. So you take those profits, you spend it on your kids, you do whatever you want. But then when something happens, that government is supposed to be the safety net for people or for even corporations, you ask for everything and leave nothing for the people. None of that makes any sense in terms of structuring. See, what happens right now when you have the kind of tax cuts we gave you is use your own money. Use the tax cuts. And if that's not enough, then you just got to go bankrupt. See, watch this, Yvette. Mm-hmm. What did they say? They said that Biden said this on the stage just at the last debate, that if those banks had failed, then we'd be in a worse place right now. Well, nobody says that when your individual family can't pay your rent next week. What, like, when your family can't pay their rent next week because there is no Medicare for all, or no food stamps, or no anything else you might need in the social safety net, it's the same outcome for you.
Yeah.
Whether the bank fails or whether your individual family fails. I have no idea how people analyze these things, but I just think that what you see is a bastardization of capitalism, where whenever it gets to a situation where, and I want everybody to understand the gravity of the moment, and we're only 2 weeks in, week and a half. I did the whole thing on sports, and I think without sports it's going to be a real problem. This may look like, in the end, may look like make 08 look like a headache. This may make 08 look like a headache in terms of the bailouts and what they did, because what they're going to have to do is basically become socialist in some sort while maintaining the veneer of capitalism. That's the only way this thing keeps going. They're going to have to actually basically try to boost and keep up the businesses and the infrastructure of airlines and oil and farming and everything else, while telling us we can't get reparation in a capitalist market. In the capitalist market, all these companies that came, they're supposed to just like, you have good times and that's it. But that's not what they're gonna do. Now we've already seen that in the first week. And the argument is gonna be because we can't allow them to fail. Well, how can you then allow a black family to fail? And how have you been allowing black families to fail? How have you been creating that failure inside of black families through incarceration? See, all of that comes together, and I'm going to end on the last thing, which if you can bring up the wealth with the Tylenol. It's a trip because I don't want to bring this up in this harsh way, but it has to be done. As she brings that up, one of the things I commend the brother earlier for saying was that he sent this woman, and he didn't even say his relationship, Adolph to Adolph. He sent her $50. But he didn't say why. He didn't ask no. Sometimes it just happens like that. You're gonna have to make that call because that $50 then can become $150. Well, we talking about eating today, right? Me and Yvette, we share stuff all the time. I think she sent me some medicine or something, one of them medicines, D3, whatever, and then I sent her a thermometer. We're going to be sharing information and resources together. That's what we're going to be doing. But at the same time, I think there comes a point where we got to get real about the fact of what we've been saying for so long, which is you don't have enough to be here. I'm saying this in the most real way possible because the numbers that are up on the screen right now are not just not enough. Not enough if you should have 100,000 and you got 25,000. When you see these kind of numbers, where the middle Bostonian has $8 and the middle Miamian has $11, the middle LA person has 200. All those numbers are basically zero, and then you know what it is in Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana, probably near $1 or $2. But one pack of Tylenol is $10.47 in good times. That's out of stock. It's $10 in good times, and it's out of stock. What they're telling you is that your citizenship does not exchange for the rights to be American in this place. And you didn't do the politics to elevate your citizenship. They might not be saying it expressly to you, but they're just showing it to you in terms of what you're going to deal with without... You can't trade your citizenship in for 5 packs of Tylenol, for this many bottles of water. What instead you're going to be able to do is say, I'm an American, but then live a very, very frustrating and struggled life inside of that America. Black American life is about to change, y'all. American life is about to change. All them beauticians. See, Black America's been surviving on the edge of white American scraps. Black America's been surviving. You graduate from high school, you become a beautician, you make about 45, 50, you pay your taxes if you do. You pay your taxes if you do. It's hard work. You do your work. But at the end of the day, you need that work to be continuous. Black life is surviving on being a barber. Good job, don't get me wrong. But you need customers to be a barber. And one thing that coronavirus does is it makes so you don't have no customers. Understand that Black life has been surviving on all kind of little tricks and chicanery like Uber, which is a trick in the chicanery, because all it is liquidate your car. But all of a sudden you don't have a tool to liquidate your car. So now here we are, and I think that this bottle of Tylenol is so visual, so expressive of the limitations of Black life. Because if you can't afford one bottle of Tylenol, how are you going to afford an American family? I'm going to leave it at that.
Appreciate it as always, Tom. Yeah, and well, how you going to afford forget an American family? How you going to afford an American epidemic, an American pandemic? If you can't afford it, a bottle of Tylenol, how do you afford a pandemic? And that's what I saw at the grocery store. People who couldn't afford a pandemic. We should be able to build the country, free labor, historic oppression, but no, we can't. And people fought us tooth and nail about why are you fighting so hard for this thing called reparations. Well, now you see. Going right now to 214. Let's make our comments concise and so we can get as many people in as we can, fam. 214, I'm coming to you. 214, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hi, Yvette. This is Lillian.
Hey, Lillian.
ADOS from Illinois.
How are you?
I'd like to say that, first of all, fine, thank you. First of all, small business is not barbers and beauticians.
Self-employed. They're self-employed.
In this capitalist system, it's FedEx, UPS,
FedEx ain't
those
small.
guys that are going to get the money. The small businesses, they're not going to get it. And it looks apparently like Asians are going to get it, and I'm boycotting Asian shops. Because all they do is give you that glue, it takes your edges out, you have no edges. You know? Not only that, I also like to say, I'm going to make this brief, but we were considered property.
Mm-hmm.
America, your property wants tangible reparations. It's time. All the other, with the airline, 60 billion, all that, watch that. We need our tangible reparations. And I'm out.
I appreciate
So,
it, fam.
good night.
Thank you, and I agree. They self-employed, yeah. We're not gonna get nothing. How you not gonna bail out that? Or the little, like we got a lot of little, like one of the things that's cropped up lately is a lot of little, black restaurants, right? And what they gonna do? I just saw one of them like a couple weeks ago talk about, no, a week or so ago, talk about how clean and it was real good customer service. But now what happens to you when nobody's coming in? Because nobody's made those bills not be due like yet, right? There's no national. See, stuff has to come from. See, right now we got stuff at the bottom trickling up. Stuff's supposed to come from the up and trickle down. Like, don't do no foreclosures. Don't foreclose business properties either. Don't do this. Like, no, ain't none of that happening. I'm talking about small business, self-employed people. She's right. A barber ain't a small business, self-employed. Basically, it's usually just you. So anyway, fam, I'm going to my next call. 216. I'm coming to you. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette. My name's Tanya. I live in Chicago.
Hey, Tanya.
Hey, so I'm ADOS. Fortunately, right now, I'm in grad school, so I get a stipend. But, of course, I have ADOS friends.
Mm-hmm.
And so this whole thing is really concerning for a couple of reasons. And so even right now, one of my ADOS friends that's in grad school, she has a child. And she called me in a panic this morning because she has a son. Chicago public schools shut down. And I don't know if y'all remember earlier this year, but they had a teacher strike. So now she got to worry about what she's going to do. And it just doesn't seem that much of a concern compared to everybody else around her because we are ADOS and everybody else in this like academic environment is not ADOS. You know what I mean? So she has to figure out how she going to make sure her son keep on track. His father's a truck driver. He gets paid per delivery and not by the hour. And so if they stop, if he can't make his deliveries, they're not going to get no money, and they can't afford child care together, whereas everybody else around her can't afford child care. So that's concerning. Another thing is that with my family, I don't even know what to say in terms of my family because they're super religious. And I just seen stuff online where they keep talking about the end days is coming and they think that this is just a part of that time of tribulation. You know what I mean? So I don't even know how to convince people like that they need to go ahead and get some resources because I think they really think, it's kind of like what the first caller said, God got me, There was another thing I wanted to mention in terms of the medication. So I agree with you. We can't be picky with generic or whatever the other version, whatever the name brand version is. But I do want people to be mindful because I purchased the generic version of a lot of things. But just look at the dosage. So you may need to take a little bit more compared to the name brand, because you may think that it's not having an effect. And then I have one last point because I do have a virology background. And initially for somebody like my age, initially when I heard about it, it was like flu-like symptoms. And I'm in my 20s, so I wasn't that concerned. But y'all got to really pay attention because MERS and SARS were also caused by different coronaviruses. And what we know now with peer-reviewed literature is that these people have long-term pulmonary damage and liver damage. And they also more recently published a paper on some of the patients from Wuhan, and those people have some liver damage. So even if you're in your 20s and you think, I'll get a flu and I'll recover, we don't know enough at this point to know how that would affect our group specifically, and we may end up having long-term damage.
And I heard some of them have long-term lung damage too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the long-term, the pulmonary, the lung damage. Yep. And that's something that you can't really recover from. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Very good cautionary tale too, fam. I appreciate it. Thank you. Because
Thank you. Bye.
no, thank you, fam. Because I think a lot of young people think, well, I'm not, and you don't know. I saw somebody online that said like, I have a friend who's under 40, and they're in Spain and they're in a coma because of the coronavirus. And I think I saw the whole thing about the scarring of the liver. And it's almost like, do you want to have the liver of an alcoholic and not be one? Like there's a lot of damage that can happen to the body even if you recover. Because all we see is fatalities and recovery. We say, oh, it's a lot of people recover, and other people who don't understand numbers, who pretend to understand numbers, say that too. It ain't but 55, whatever, the people died. It ain't no big deal. No, it's bigger than that. So I'm going now to 323. Let's keep our comments concise because I want to try to get to a few people. 323, and thank you for doing a great job, previous callers. Y'all been getting it in. 323, I'm coming to you. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Yvette?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, they don't ADOS North. How you doing?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Good. First I'm gonna start off with this. Stop touching your face. Make sure you got some hand
No,
sanitizer
no.
by you.
Hey, help
Okay, because I see you struggling.
I am. I'm having a hard time.
So that's the first part of it. As I've said previously before on my Twitter, not only, just on my Twitter, but talking to you, I am a representation of the data, and so that's what I'm going to do right now. I am in LA, as most of you guys know. I've already explained to you guys, due to the fact that I am living in abject poverty, like most of us, well, might as well just change from most of us to all of us. But the thing is this. So if you, as I said last show, if you are already living in abject poverty, how are you preparing for anything? Okay, the next thing is that I just wanted to say to Tone that I appreciate his video that he did 2 weeks ago because I was one of the ones who was, in the situation that I'm in, telling these folk in the shelter, hey, look, I think this is going to be bad. I think you all need to go preparing and do whatever it is that you need to do. This is back in February. You understand what I'm saying? Because what a lot of people don't look at this aspect too. Okay, you talk about LA, so you might as well just go ahead and talk about Skid Row. You already have a number of infections and other things that people are passing around down there. So when you add this coronavirus, add that in there. Folks don't know they got it on top of the other stuff that they're spreading. You understand what I'm saying? Because folks is living in tents and things of this nature. Nobody wants to look at that. It's like everything is just getting looked over.
Fam, let me ask you a quick question. I heard like the governor or something, or who was it? The mayor. I heard somebody in California bought like a bunch of hotels for the undomiciled. What do you think? Do you think that's going to be enough, or you think what do you think about the reaction to coronavirus that's happening on the West Coast, like California specifically?
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that last part. Can you see that?
No, I said, what do you think about the reaction to coronavirus that's happening on the West Coast on the behalf of the undomiciled of the homeless? What do you think about like the buying of the hotels? I saw they was buying hotels to put undomiciled people in. What do you think about the reaction by government in California?
Now, I haven't seen too much about that particular information, so I'm not going to really speak on that, but I will say this. It's just another, if they did that, it's just another Band-Aid, if you will. It's not going to fix the problem. Because I think I was talking to Zarina on Twitter, and I told her, I said, look, in 19, Los Angeles got, what was it? I think it was $49 million to so-called treat Skid Row, and yet it looked like they didn't get anything. So I don't even trust the fact that they so-called themselves giving these hotel rooms. I don't trust anything that the local government is supposed to be done. You understand what I'm saying? And the reason why that is because I don't want to curse, but I've seen some ish. Let's just put it that way.
Gotcha.
So, not only that, but the 501c3 that I'm dealing with here in LA, let's just put it this way, there is a database that deals with 501c3, basically when they were registered, if they're a real non-for-profit or whatever the case. Let me just put it this way, I can't even find them in this database. some of these nonprofits are they can't be found. They're not real. They're doing some things that they have no business doing. So that being said, with this coronavirus, look, I don't even want to go there.
Understood.
I just really don't.
Understood,
Again, I
fam.
appreciate you and Tone. As always,
Thank
I
you.
just want to keep it concise, and I'm going to just say, love you guys. I appreciate
Love you back. Thank you, fam.
all,
You be
and
as safe as
bye.
you can out there. Appreciate it, fam. Thank you. And I certainly understand the distrust. I certainly do. That's interesting. It's always great to get so many different points of view out of this. I'm going to the next call. I am going to 504. 504. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind? Turn your background down.
Hey, Yvette.
Hey,
Hello?
I'm here. Turn your background down for me.
Oh, okay, let me turn that down. Yeah, I'm calling from New Orleans. I think I talked to you before. This is Devin.
Okay. What's on your mind?
Yeah, we talked before. I was just calling to say that, I hear a lot of people talking about that black people can't get the virus, and there was one person in my city that died. It was all on the news if you guys want to go look it up. Because we're a tourist city, I'm a musician, I'm a jazz musician, and they just shut down Bourbon Street, all the bars, so it's like I'm not making no money no more, so I just wanted to throw that out there.
Appreciate it.
So that's a myth. That's a myth that they're saying that black folks can't get it because a person here died, an old man that just died. They just had it on the news not that long ago, so.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate you letting us know. Thank you, fam. Thank you so much for that. And you take care of yourself. Hopefully it won't be too long. Go ahead with your last thought.
And I wanted to say that I don't know if you know that I think she's a representative for New York. Her name is Grace Mean. I think she just got like 8.3 million for Asian businesses, and that to me that's reparations. So they're saying they don't have it for black people, but they actually have the money. The government have the money for us for reparations.
Of course they do.
Have you heard of that? Have you heard?
I've seen it. I've seen something. Yeah, I've seen something about it.
If you go to her Twitter, she talks about it. She's bragging about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's money out there for us for reparations, and we just got to keep fighting for it. And I love y'all.
Thank you, fam.
Love my black family, all the ADOS people. Love you guys. Let's keep fighting.
We love you back. We love you back, fam. Thank you so much for that and helping us dispel that myth with a personal case where a black person died. Like we have, our liver is very similar. Probably identical. Our lungs the same. Our intestines the same. Our heart the same. Like, stop this myth of like we're somehow different. That's what the slave master did. They're different. They don't need the same. They just like to play the banjo all day, and their bodies is different, and so they're not the same as white folks. So they don't need the same. They don't need no freedom. They don't even want no freedom. Do you, Sammy? You won't want no freedom, Sammy, do you? No, we're not doing that no more. So I'm going to the next call. I'm going to 714. 714. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hi, Yvette.
Hey.
This is Amethyst. Hi, I'm sorry too. Alright, this is Amethyst. I'm calling from Orange, California.
Okay.
Alright, so I saw this on Facebook. Somebody had posted this, and I went and looked it up. It says, it's from Eric Garcetti, the mayor's office. So it says, public order under City of Los Angeles Emergency Authority, and it was issued yesterday, March 15th. Subject, new city measures addressed to COVID-19. So if you scroll all the way down, the last article that's here, I just wanted to read this, and it's about the tenants of Los Angeles. So it says, finally, I hereby order that no landlord shall evict a residential tenant in the city of Los Angeles during this local emergency period if the tenant is able to show an inability to pay rent due to circumstances related to the COVID-19 pandemic. These circumstances include loss of income due to a COVID-19 related workplace closure, child care expenditures due to school closures, healthcare expenses related to being ill with COVID-19, or caring for a member of the tenant household who is ill with COVID-19, or reasonable expenditures that stem from government-ordered emergency measures. Nothing in this subsection shall be construed to mean that the tenant will not still be obligated to pay lawfully charged rent. Tenants will have this part right here. Tenants will have up to 6 months following the expiration of the local emergency period to repay any back due rent. Tenants may use this protections afforded in this subsection as an affirmative defense in an unlawful detainer action. This subsection shall remain in effect during the pendency of the local emergency period. This order may be extended prior to March 31st, 2020. So I just wanted to read that because I thought that was pretty crazy that basically after this is all over, parents will only have up to 6 months to back pay rent. So we're looking at paying rent and back pay rent.
Well, what's even crazier about it, fam, is not the 6 months to me. What's even crazier about it is I don't get that 6 months. So I didn't work, so I gotta scramble now. So I got 6 months to scramble around and put my nickels and borrow from people or figure something out. But I wasn't able to work. I didn't work because I just laid off. I couldn't work. We had a pandemic. So I don't get that free. I don't get that just we just gonna wipe that off. Now you're gonna wipe off the airline though. You're gonna wipe them off. It's a lot of big companies, multi conglomerates you're just gonna wipe clean. But I actually couldn't work, just like they couldn't fly. But they get to have their slate wiped clean, and I gotta just figure some stuff out. Yes, it's a huge problem. It's awful.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I'm even though I'm not in LA and I have a lot of friends in LA, I'm in Orange and I'm an esthetician. So I do facials, I do waxing. Most of my clients are black, and I'm a renter. I'm a leaser here, and I'm already starting to be worried just because there's articles going out that people shouldn't go to the beauticians and the nail spas, the estheticians and so forth. So I know people in LA who are experiencing that as well. So this is all just, it's going to be a lot on us, basically. So just
this is why you need a bigger government, right? Because you need a bigger government because you have two people in a pickle, right? So you're in a pickle because you're trying to pay rent, but you can't pay rent because you didn't work. Then the landlord's in a pickle because maybe they have a mortgage on the property that they need to pay. So the government has to come in and be like, I'm sliding y'all something. I'm sliding the landlord something so they can leave you alone. So I'm going to give the landlord, I'm going to bail them out so that they can leave you alone and you can get that month because you didn't work. See, that's why you need a robust government. People always talk about small government. You need a government to be able to be like, take this paper and let's get back to life. Let's get back to the life we had before now. But see, they're not doing that. They're just saying postpone life. No, you can't do that. It's a pandemic. It's not a windstorm. And then they can be bad too. But we're not talking about that. So I think you're absolutely right, fam. And I appreciate it. And I appreciate you calling in and reading off from that, because thank you, fam. That's what has to happen. You have to be in a situation where the government can slip the landlord something and say, listen, don't do that. Don't evict them and don't make them have to figure it out because they can't figure it out. They didn't work. Ain't no figuring out. And the government ain't gave nobody no money. And even if you gave us money, that money should be spent for getting supplies and the stuff that we need and whatever. No, you gotta slide these. You gotta slide that. You gotta do that. And so that's the problem. The government is giving all the money to the top. Send all the money to the top 1% and 0.1 or whatever. And now, when we're in a pandemic, you don't have no money for pandemics. That's a problem. That's a failure. So I'm going to the next call. I'm going to 585. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, what's going on, Yvette?
What's going on with you?
Hey, this is Jay Watts from the Bronx, long-time listener. I want to salute you on tone.
Thank you.
I want to let you know I appreciate y'all.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate it.
I was calling because I looked at Tone's video. I wanted to let everybody know they need to look at Tone's video. That kind of got the ball rolling for me. Once I watched that video, I ordered all the stuff he had in the video. From there, I just started doing my own thinking. So I stacked up on medical supplies, everything. My kids are straight right now. We got so much tissue, we good.
Good.
But I want everybody to be safe out there and take this serious. I'd rather be thought a fool now and not need it than to need it and not have it. You looking like, you know what?
Yeah.
I have people tell me I'm acting paranoid and all that. I'm like, listen, man, call me paranoid. I'm ready though.
But here's the thing, fam. Even if like they flatten the curve and nothing happens, you just have a lot of toilet paper. You're gonna need toilet paper regardless.
Exactly. You ain't never gonna stop going to the
No.
bathroom.
No.
And then you got people out here that, like, my mother's a minister, you know, and she's telling me God got her. I said, I understand that, but I'm pretty sure one of these people that died believes in Jesus too. You need to get ready. So I've basically been giving my family, like, I have a lot of, like, rubber gloves and stuff. So I've been giving them boxes of rubber gloves and stuff. And I just want to let people know, like, I'm Jared Watts on Facebook because Twitter banned me. I had like 5 accounts. They banned all of them. But I'm Jared Watts on Facebook. If you have any ideas you want to go back and forth with, please just hit me up. I'll take any suggestions. I'll give you my suggestions on what I did.
Okay. Thank you, fam. I appreciate it. Yeah. Brainstorm.
I'll take it easy.
Thank you, fam. You too. Brainstorming ain't a problem. Let me just say this. You know, they shut down the NBA. They shut down all major sports. Shut down Disneyland. Las Vegas is closed. And people weren't coming because they had to close it, you know, because they weren't making no money. I have never seen in my life America shut down all the restaurants. I was getting alerts today that like my city government and county, like they were closing. I have not in my life seen this. When you see that kind of action, even if you didn't watch Tone video, you didn't see me talk. Even if you didn't see that stuff, right? You even if you didn't see our video, you see this right now. And like for you to say, well, God got me. God helps those who help themselves. There's no need to be a fool, right? In this moment, like if you go buy stuff and we flatten the curve and everything is good, then all you end up with is a lot of food and a lot of toilet paper and a lot of medicine. You're gonna need those things anyway, just in life. There is no lose situation if you can do it. If you can do it, do it. So anyway, I'm going to the next call, fam. I am going to going to 516. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hi, Yvette. This is Stacy from Freeport, New York.
What's going on, Stacy?
Doing great. I'll tell you what's on my mind.
Okay.
My husband and I own a small business, but in order to increase our income a little bit and cushion us, and because of everything that's been going on with coronavirus, I had a job with the census.
Okay.
So I had training last Tuesday, and I walk into the space and I'm saying, there's a lot of people in this rented space, and this is part of the federal government, and they weren't doing anything to really protect us. So we did a day training, and then we have to do online training. I'd been through this before. Everything's digital this year. And did my training, spent all day yesterday on it because I was supposed to be prepared for tomorrow morning. They call me this afternoon and say they're not going to do it, and that's it. They don't know when we're going to start up again because this is a part of the job where you have to go door to door to speak to people who haven't sent in their forms. Okay. So just letting you know, that's how it's affected, how coronavirus has affected my life. And this job was paying over $25 an hour.
And just over with.
Yeah.
It's just finished.
Over with. Finished. But I've been, for the last 6 weeks, I paid attention to exactly what was coming out of Wuhan from the first account, and I knew what was going to happen to us. Because for 40 years, with all of the offloading, first to Mexico, then to China, this had to come back. And because we have so much travel, something we never had even 20 years ago. And when we're looking at this virus in 2003, China accounted for about 4% of the world's production, and it now accounts for 16% of the world's production. And we've let corporations grab so much. I'm looking at Amazon. Amazon is not the government. They can't do what the government does, and that's why you can't get Tylenol, and you can't get N95 masks, and you can't get gloves off of Amazon right now. So,
thank you, fam. I appreciate
this is where we are. ADOS life.
That's
thank you.
No, do you right? That's ADOS life. I appreciate it, fam. You exactly right. And just the job just be gone. That's and look at this. I want you to look at this real quick. People say, "Oh, we ain't really worried about no virus. Relax." Trump says coronavirus crisis could last until July or August. What you really see is a lot of uncertainty. And let me just say something, fam. When you see a lot of uncertainty, what that tells you is that you need to be prepared. You need to be prepared for all outcomes. That looks wild to me. President Trump said the coronavirus outbreak could last into the summer, perhaps as long as August, an indication that widespread nationwide slowdown in response to the virus is just beginning. Mr. Trump also didn't rule out further quarantines or curfews in the future as he rolled out new 15-day guidelines. They think it could be August, it could be July, he said at a press briefing Monday, referring to members of the White House task force. Could be longer than that, but I've asked that question many, many times. So who is telling us? Who is saying that, like, no, it's not going to be that? What expertise? Like, we got to start. Listen, we got to start getting serious about the stuff that's going on in our lives. These are serious times. We can't be playing with people. We can't be playing with people who didn't do nothing, don't know nothing, ain't listening to no experts. You can't be playing with them because of some kind of conclusions that they've concocted in their little heads. You can't do that. Going to my next call. I'm going to 412. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette, how you doing? This is
Pretty good.
From Pittsburgh.
What's going on?
Hey, man, listen to the show. You know, I knew you'd come and bring some good tonight. It was exactly what we needed. But, I'm glad Tom did that show because that show was what was really going on and made me go out and start getting stuff for my house, getting water and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know? And it was funny because my wife was laughing at me when I was bringing all this water in the house, but she's grateful now. You know? She's real grateful now. We got a stack of water down there. I bought some crackers and tuna and all stuff, you know, for the house. So,
yeah.
You know, so we're a little bit prepared, and I've been grateful that Tony did that and helped me to move in that direction because I wasn't thinking that way when it first jumped off. So I'm glad I am now, and I think we'll get through it. But I'm just watching what's going on within our state here, and they're shutting down everything, restaurants and the stores, and they shut down the liquor store, so now the alcoholics is running crazy. That lady on TV said she said, when the world comes to an end, she want to be drunk. So you know, but it's just crazy times out here. But we're going to get through it, and, I'm just glad I got the Breaking Brown family.
We're glad we got you too, fam.
You know, instead of running scared, just get prepared.
Appreciate
y'all doing a good job. I want to thank you for all you do, what Tony is doing for us, and giving us the data and information for us to take the proper action that we need to take to survive this bad situation we're in right now, part of the country and the world. But we're going to get through. And one more thing I want to say, the other guy was talking about his mother was religious, and my mother's real religious, but you know what? She got a doomsday kit, and it blew my mind when she told me she had it. I couldn't believe it, but she said she got her one, so. You know,
All right.
herself, so she's ready.
All right, that's go mama. Go mama now.
So it's all good. I just want to call in and, just thank you for all you're doing. And I hope we can still have a conference in Louisville.
I hope so. It's saying to summer. I hope it don't last into the doggone fall. Ooh, you don't know. A virus.
Yeah, me too.
But we'll keep it posted.
It's all good, man. I'm just glad you're doing what you're doing and keep up the good work. And thanks for taking my call.
All right. Appreciate it, fam. Like, understand something. Like, understand how many people who say, like, Tone's video and what you said. Like, other people say, like, I didn't know. I didn't think it was going to be bad. Like, I avoided the crowds, right? Because because Antonio, that video was early. Right? Like, understand that. Understand, like, sometimes you got to risk, like, looking stupid. Like the dude did when he brought the water. His wife was looking at him crazy. Understand, you got to be able to, like, nah, I see something coming. You might not see it coming, but I see it coming. And even if it don't come, we got water. But everybody's telling us it's coming. And what this curve is going to look like. We got to have what we have. And that's where we are. So I'm going to go to my last call. Really quickly. And then that'll be it for tonight. But I think we're going to be talking about this for a while, fam. I don't think this goes away. 404, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette.
What's going on?
This is Jay from Decatur.
What's going on, Jay?
Hello?
Hey, what's going on?
Nothing much. This is my first time calling, man. It's just crazy to me that we don't have enough money to get through any of this stuff, let alone this coronavirus. But when you look at the data, $8 in Boston, $11 in LA. When you pull up the net worth chart, like, how is this not something that's waking us all up to say, okay, it's an uncharted territory. We don't know how long this is gonna last, and they're shutting everything down. All the people who are doing the work, the menial jobs, the hourly jobs, are they still gonna get paid? Are we gonna be able to afford to get all this tissue and stuff like that, and stocking up on all this stuff like that? Can we really do that?
Yeah.
How long can we last?
Not long.
How long can we last?
Not long, because we don't have reserves.
Like,
we don't make enough to have reserves, and everybody around us is poor. So it's not like, well, I don't have money, but I know this person over here who got it. No, everybody around us is the same as us.
Right. So I just feel like any person, ADOS, or whoever it is, if they don't have reparations on the agenda, then they need to be canceled. It's almost like you cooning if that's not a part of your platform or anything that you're doing. If you're not advocating for us, when you look at the data, the numbers, if you're not advocating for your own people, what are you doing? You're wasting time. We have no time. I just don't understand how, if you ADOS and you look at the numbers and you look at the data, you don't feel like this is the most important thing in your life right now.
Boom. Thank you, fam. Thank you. That's a perfect point to end. This is the most important issue, thing, injustice in your life. I want to thank you for that, fam, because that was a perfect.
Yeah, what's more important than that?
Nothing.
Make it make sense to me, because I would love to hear your argument.
Nothing. They can't say nothing. Wobble-gee wobble. They might just say wobble-gee wobble-gee wobble-gee. That's what it sounds like to me when somebody tries to explain to me why that's not the thing. Wobble-gee wobble-gee wobble-gee, Yvette. A wobble-gee wobble-gee wobble. A wobble-gee wobble. No, you don't make no sense. So you right, fam, and I appreciate it. And we got to do what we got to do for each other, and we got to the best that we can now. Some people gonna be coming over. You ain't heard from them forever. Hey, how you doing? Do you know the corona out here? I was wondering if I could sleep in your basement. I haven't seen you in 30 years. Like, I don't even know. Last time you was here, you stole Aunt Lulabelle's pocketbook. What you want? I mean, you have to be helpful to people you can be helpful to. We are a tribe. That means something. But you have to also understand when people just gonna try to come through and do stuff. And they a member of the tribe. You weren't a member of the tribe for a long time ago. We had all kind of problems. You ain't been nowhere around, but now you want to come in here and talk about, can you get a blanket? Because you know it's the corona. You got to be careful about putting your own family at risk. with some of these people that gonna try to run through or whatever. You got to be very careful. You have to be a smart tribe. You can't just you gotta, and everybody ain't in the tribe. Remember what I always say: inclusion is as important as exclusion. Inclusion, you don't want to mess around. This person been somewhere and been doing a bunch of stuff, and now the whole house got the corona. Be very careful. Help how you can help. We're a tribe. We try to help each other, but understand that everybody ain't in that. Some people are just in it for themselves, and they've been running around taking care of themselves for a long time and not caring about what you've been through. So you have to just be, I ain't going to tell you what to do, but be very careful. You have to have discernment in this moment. That's all I'm going to say. So fam, thank you. We will be, this is not the last time. Looks like we're going to be talking about this. 26, don't forget, we will be reading The Color of Money, Black Banks, and the racial, Black Banks and the Racial Wealth Gap. Please do not forget about that. Before you leave, please hit that like button on your way out. Please hit that like button. I would appreciate it. If we did not get to you tonight, I apologize. We will soon. But please hit that like button. Hit that like button for me. Please share. Please go to subscribetobrown.com and add your name to my email list. Please do that. I would appreciate that as well. Hit that bell if you haven't hit that bell, or hit subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. That is wonderful, fam. And that's it. That's it, fam. Everybody be easy breezy. Take care of yourself. Like the man said, if you need a libation, you might want to go and stock up or something, because I think they finna kick some stuff off. Where you might just be able to go out and get essential goods. And for those of you who do not know, alcohol is not an essential good. It is. You're not gonna be able, and they're gonna be closed. So you're not gonna, if they're not closed already. So if that's whatever little stuff you be into that you want to have at the house, it ain't got to be that. Some people are into all kinds of little sauces. Like you might want to have your little sauces that your little sauce packets. Like you like food, well, I can always get some more soy sauce. No, you can't. Like have that there, because you're gonna be mad somewhere if you just eating that rice and it's dry. And you normally have it with a little bit of soy topped on top of it. You're going to be upset and aggravated. So make sure you find you some of that, get what you got to get and do what you got to do. And we will talk soon, fam, and be easy breezy and wash your hands, wash your face. Don't get close to people, and maintain your social distance and everything you got to do to protect yourself and your family. Till next time, fam.